thank you guys for getting on.
I know, truly.
We're going to ask you to do something to start the meeting, and then we'll get really started. The Carter Center hires a company that does a lot of assessments of some of the work that we're doing, and they want to understand some things that are strong weaknesses, areas that you feel about. And they do this. They do this survey. If you'll look into your chat, you will see a survey in there that we're going to ask you to take that, click on that survey, and do that for the first five to 10 minutes of this call.
This
If you
is
don't,
your opportunity to make all of us look great.
yeah, you can say really nice things. Kurt's really good looking. Okay, let's don't lie. Let's tell the truth. But make sure that you just, if you don't mind going in and clicking on that and doing that for us. Do you see it? Everybody see it? Wave to me and tell me you got it. And just click on that and kind of go through and answer those questions, whatever you want to answer. And we would appreciate it. We're trying to make sure that we help the Carter Center out. They do a lot of good work with us guys. Um, and then when we get done with this, you can hear my voice. I'm losing my voice, so no singing today. But I have two of the most incredible, capable people that run this organization, and I just tag along with them. Is both Jennifer and Lisa, and I'm going to let them kind of run the meeting. But we will break out into breakout rooms, and I'm sure I'll get a chance to be with you there. Oh my goodness, Kevin Warren, life is just good. Kevin Warren got on, man. So anyhow, with all of that, make sure you send Kevin the form to fill out as well. Are y'all filling out the form and you're just looking at the form as you talk as I'm talking? Because I see Shelly. I know you're a multitasker. Send Kevin Moore in that form as well, so he can fill it out. We're gonna take the next 5-10 minutes, answer. I think there's like 20 questions or something, and then we'll get started. All right. We'll be right back.
All right. We're going to give everybody another minute and then we're going to come together. Thanks for taking the time to fill out the member survey. This is important for giving us feedback for what you want to see more of and where we can improve. So thank you so much.
Yes, it was 2 pages, but it was fast. Thank you. Thank you guys for doing that. All right, Jennifer, I'm going to turn it over to you and Lisa as we get started. Just one reminder, we will not have a lunch and learn next month. We're going to take the month of June off. There's a lot of people traveling, vacation, so forth. But we will be back on July 17th. And this is going to be a really important one before the primaries. We're going to have the supervisor of elections come back in, and we're going to have a more in-depth conversation about some of the stuff that they're facing and some of the things that we're working on. We've entitled it. What do we entitle it, Jennifer? You only gave it a sagacious title. What was that?
Oh, the election protection and accessing the ballot.
Yeah, so those are big issues that we've been hearing about. Do we have access to it? How do you make sure it's being protected the right way? Especially a lot of the mail-in ballots and the as supervisor of elections. And we've done some of this before in the past, but really what we're trying to do now is to say this is some of the key issues that they're addressing and so forth. We have three supervisor of elections: one from South Florida, one from Central Florida, one from Central North Florida, all excellent. Probably was it maybe two Republicans, one Democrat. I'm not sure what their party. Yeah, I'm asking. I guess that's what it is. But they are really good in this field, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Invite your friends. If people are having questions about elections, this would be the good one to have them come on. So we really invite. All right, Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent. All right, y'all. So last time I promised that we would take a moment to like connect in small groups and also to just talk about how we do a lot of hard work here. And I love that folks continue to show up. I know these conversations and connecting across difference is not always easy. It's actually takes a lot of self-restraint. It takes a lot of assuming the best intentions. And these are muscles that are not reward the development of these muscles are not something that is rewarded in our society at large today. And so I want to just say thank you. It's actually what society is built on, is the ability to, like, you know, step back and let other people have a different opinion from yourself, and to curtail what you want to do and say, to so that to give other folks the ability to say and do what they want, and to have that balance of self-interest and the interest for the common good. And so I want to first just say great job of showing up to this, to what I know is hard work, month after month. But we also don't want to, like, have folks just think, oh, great, it's another Sun 100 webinar. This is going to be difficult. Let me take a deep breath, you know? And so what we wanted to invite, we're going to break up into small groups today. Um, and what we wanted to invite is conversation around, like, how can we create a more dynamic network? Does that look like folks having, you know, folks from the right just getting together every now and then, folks from the left just getting together every now and then? Does that look like folks from North Florida, who are so very different from our folks in Miami, getting together for some affinity groups? Or, and Lorianne, if you can put the link to the meeting in the chat, I think folks are asking for that. Um, so how would connecting, using, having this group coming together, but connecting over something different, instead of just policy conversations or election conversations. So there's a lot that we thought of, but we really want to hear from you. So, how can we round out your experience as a member of this network? We really do value you. So we are going to take 10 minutes and just have this break up into small groups and have that conversation. And then, based on what that first conversation looks like, um, we'll have some follow-up subsequent conversations so that we can build out a network that's even more fulfilling to you and your engagement. So Lorianne break us out, um, is gonna break us out into small
So we
groups
see
now.
this where it says this. So we're first breakouts. How can we integrate or connect you to ease and let's see, what's it say? To ease and connection for offset some of the hard work that we do here. What? Tell them what we mean by that. I want them.
What I
So
meant
our,
with what I just said was, how can we, I'm not going to get back into it, but so we're going to break out just what would round out your experience of getting together in this network? What would introduce some ease, to have in between the more challenging webinar conversations that we have, where we're talking across difference, because that's hard work. And so what are some ways that you could think of to introduce, like, some easier engagement opportunities? So we're going to break out again. Lorianne, if you can break us
Ready?
out into groups.
Okay, ready? Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Lisa, do you want to kick off the
I
coming back?
would love to. So Alex, who was a former member who was a sleeper cell for a minute, but he's back, has offered to have a humongous party in Miami with everybody in Miami and have
Yay.
a house for dinner. And I think we're all going over next Saturday. So
I'm coming down. All right. So
we feel that we need, like, to connect without any, like, mandatory obligations of politics, just like get to know each other. Like, what do we have in common? What kind of person are you? How do what's your family like? To get to know people without, this, like you said before, Jennifer, these are hard things because I think I can get along with everybody until they totally disagree with every single thing I say. And then I'm like, I need to leave. So I think getting to know people
I love that.
and see that, you know what, I can have everything, not and have nothing in common with you and still love you and value you, like, and respect your views and learn from you.
So you set it up, Lisa, and I'll make sure I have some cigars for
Okay,
Steve.
perfect. You see?
Steve. All right. What about how many groups did we have? Kurt, were
three.
you in a separate group? Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to talk about.
Kevin's going to handle our group. So let Kevin talk about it.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, that's a good segue, Lisa. So one of the things we talked about, we came back from Belfast, Kurt and I, and we learned so much that it really kind of reset our 850 group up here. We were really focused on reducing kind of that stigma around voter fraud and manipulation and all that. Coming back from Belfast, our passion for just peace and understanding how to disagree well and communicate across aisles became so important to us and connected from a passion level that we kind of shifted. And that's our focus here now is to kind of understand just that. How do we create conversation and just kind of galvanize and create the space for people to communicate and understand where these similarities are outside of politics, outside of beliefs.
The other thing that we talked about, that Kevin, we talked about, we don't have to set the organizations up. There's a bunch of them out there. Convene. We're going to become a real convener. Mm-hmm. Kevin's working with a group right now. We got to make a presentation to 90 people the other day.
Yeah.
And then I got a call today from one of our guys saying, I want to do the whole thing in the youth network. So work with FAMU and Florida State and Tallahassee Community College. And we convene young adults and young and college age students to come in. So we become the real convener so that we don't have to just, we're not trying to join membership here. You don't get a secret decoder ring by being a part of the Sunshine 100. Unless you want one, we could come up with one. But the reality is we just want to convene these conversations. But because we're working together and having the conversations, we got the skill sets to help convene those kind of conversations. I think that's a major strength of this first question.
For our group, we had some really great ideas, and it centered around how to slow down conversations. So how to, instead of how to create separate groups outside of our webinar, almost like how to expand ease within our webinar. And so Mark suggested having extra time at the end. Karen said we need to slow down, have more slow our conversations down so that we can come with curiosity instead of a knee-jerk reaction. I really thought, and then Terry suggested there's a lot of emotion in polarization. So perhaps if we take that emotion out by having a survey at the beginning that's policy oriented, how many people think this is a good idea? So as a way of breaking down assumptions about where people would be on the right or the left, but just where are people on whatever topic we're about to talk about, and where is their agreement, where is their disagreement, and that way it's kind of out there at the beginning. And I really thought that those were some lovely ways of slowing things down, because I do think that it is, if it's true that these are muscles that are underappreciated in society at large today, where you get more props for a quick reaction and a pithy remark that is, that alienates the other side, and we're asking folks to develop muscles that bridge the sides, then how do we slow that down? Mark also suggested put your thoughts on paper. And that really ticked off this a pen pal, if folks wanted to really engage more deeply with conversations and go back and forth, almost like a policy pen pal, program, which I really love. I saw a speaker from the Poynter Institute. She works at I think the New York Times, doing the letters to the editor. And she was like, here's the letters that I respond to, the emails that I respond to, and here are the ones that I don't. And it was really, a lot of the principles are similar to ours. If you acknowledge my humanity, then I respond. If you just open your email yelling at me, I'm not going to respond. If you say you people at the Times, of course you did. If you ask a real question or express a real concern, I will respond. And I thought, oh, I would love to, maybe she would be a great person to come in and talk, because she had after 20 years of responding to letters to the editors, she had some really good pointers on how to engage and what's worthy engagement and what's unworthy engagement. And I think we're all trying to be worthy of engagement here. Y'all, so what we want to do now is, you know, in addition to having everyone pile into Claudia, was it Claudia? Was it you? No,
Alex's house.
okay. In addition to everybody going to Alex's house, like what other things would you like to see in our group that don't currently exist? So what can we do specifically in our network that doesn't exist that would get you excited to show up? And outside of our monthly webinar. And then since in the interest of time, we break for 15 minutes. So what can we do in our group? But then also what exists in your communities that we can connect you to? And how would you like to see us connected? So well, yeah, why don't we break and talk about both number 2 and 3, Lori? So include the third question as well. And then we'll come back at 1:50. So we'll take 15 minutes to talk about that in small groups. And then we'll come back together and report out. And the intent here is to integrate this into the work that we do so that we can be more effective and so that you can be more effective. All right. I'm gonna break.
Jennifer, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be
I almost wonder if we could stay together for one of the questions because we're all a small group today. And I don't know, what do you think, Jen?
Sure.
I agree. I'd rather stay together. And
All right, let's stay together.
Then everybody just has to get your point across quickly. But I think we're a small group. I love that we're a small group today, and maybe we can hear from and inspire each other's thoughts.
Okay, I love that. So, so what can we do within this group? And then what events in your community already exist that we can connect our network to?
I think one of the things we can do is kind of connect the people that are in the same lane to help each other, not for networking purposes, but to help us build and collaborate for same solutions. Like I'm a nonprofit. Some of us out there aren't. Some of us have businesses. I would love to connect with more nonprofits, whether you're up in North Florida or down the block, just to kind of see how we can really help each other out with support and whether it's structure or whatever, dealing with issues.
I love that, Steve. Yeah.
That could be, doesn't have to be at this meeting. It could be 2 weeks from now on our Tuesday afternoon meeting.
Yeah, it could be a special interest group. I think that that's a great way of connecting people, like, and also of building out who we think is in the room. So so we're not one dimensional. So we're not single
Right.
individuals. Yeah.
Because maybe there's somebody I know that could help your organization.
Yeah.
But you have no idea who that person is, but I do.
I bet Wayne agrees with you. Wayne, do you like that idea? Wayne's
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I think, when the Miami team went to the supervisor of elections, not only did we have an opportunity to have like an experiential learning opportunity, but then Steve and I afterwards we went and sat down and had a bite together, and so we were able to learn more about each other, our cultures, our history. So I think that's a very good way. Just establishing other experiential learning opportunities, and like we have the Walking One Stop, where we go to neighborhoods that have been adversely affected by gun and gang violence, and we go door to door delivering federal, state, and local resources right to the doorstep of residents. And so, and that I offer that up as a possible opportunity for us to be able to engage in experiential learning as well.
I love that. I love
Wayne,
that.
it's what Kevin's trying to accomplish in Tallahassee is having that same conversation. And what we talked about it, that's a collaboration. That's why we don't want to be it so regional that, I have my 850 grew up in Tallahassee. Well, it just happens to be that's where we were. But yeah, this is a collaborative thing. And what you just said, I guarantee you're going to be getting a call from Kevin Warren, Indy Kevin.
I already put my information in the chat, Steve. I would love to connect with you. I think that was also one of the things that I put on the survey list, that we filled out earlier today, was to really create that communication and network list, not for networking and rubbing shoulders, but to really create impact and to, as a group, be able to kind of push the needle forward much faster. That was one of the strategies that we brought back from Belfast, and I'm again just learning. So you're definitely going to get a call from me, and I would love to share and be able to create that list and kind of understand what each of you do and kind of what sectors we have represented here.
Oh yeah.
But industry-wide too. There's connections here. I mean, for the companies that are out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Claudio also runs an organization in Miami that does Claudio, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, we have inpatient residential treatment for mothers and children, keeping them together so that they don't get placed in foster care, putting them through treatment together, both the mother and the child. So we have early education on site. We have about 132 beds residential, and then an outpatient. We're serving about 1,500 individuals and their families in our care every month. That's children, adults, male, female. The residential inpatient is for females, mothers and children. And we're very well supported by, county, state, and federal sources. And again, we work with both sides.
Yeah, they also do jail aversion.
I'm sorry?
Also jail aversion, correct?
Jail diversion, yeah, big time jail diversion too. And we just got additional funding for that, reentry, and just really, it's a great opportunity. And we're faith-based, so we make the faith available. It's not mandatory, but we have chaplaincy and many other services that we make. So it's evidence-based practices, but we make the faith available to those that want to grow in their faith as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think one of the great things that we do, and Lisa does very well, is gatherings that are done in strategic places, whether it be in Alex's house or whatever. But it is like FIU. We've done it at UM. We've done it at very strategic locations that help bring other people in and understand that this is a well supported effort. And Lisa's done a great job of bringing in certain speakers, and we hear from both sides as much as we can. But even when we don't have elected officials, it is a very good thing. We've come to know each other a lot better, Mr. Rollins and others. And, it's just when he speaks at our meetings, he gives us a whole different perspective that there is no way to get unless you've been there and done that.
Right.
So I think that is an important part of bringing us together, understanding one another, and again, it benefits everyone.
Thank you.
One thing that Claudio, is the work that you do, the ministry that you do. So I just got back from Washington, D.C. I was at a child protection faith summit. It was the first one they had. And we had from all over the nation that came in and talked to us, and the administration, and it was great. But you know what I notice sometimes is when they get up and speak, they're quick to glorify the problem. So we all talk about the problem. And what I'm hearing out of this is the opportunity for us to find folks that are dealing with the problem, because you got to know the problem, but then come up with solutions. Maybe one thing we could consider is everybody in their own sphere, just as you're talking about it, start writing down a list of individuals or names we ought to be reaching out to, or you ought to be reaching out to, saying, maybe we come together for a meeting and have a conversation. Back to the concept of convening. We're not trying to set up we use the word Sunshine 100. only because we were trying to be very eclectic across the system. It wasn't going to be just the Carter Center, or we're going to say resiliency program or something like that, which everybody else used. We wanted to be more general so that we could invite a whole bunch of different groups from different walks of life and organizations who are working on strategies for solutions. And really, we're all dealing with civic problems. And so that may be a good thing that we could talk about and doing that. And just as you mentioned, Claudio, I mean, I know you have I know about your organization, and I'm all the way up here in Central Florida. Of course, I know it from the Florida Coalition for Children and what you do, but you have major reaching impacts, and all of you do. And maybe that's an area that we could consider writing down some names of folks we think would be important to talk with, and then having a broader conversation in those spheres or those lanes as it was asked earlier. So
to piggyback on that, Kurt, real quick, I think that you're absolutely right. I think we need to kind of raise the ball, right? We've been at this a couple of years, and now you kind of every year you kind of raise the ball a little. I think we need to do a better job of what I would call marketing, i.e., we know what we do, we know, but we need to help more people. We need to make more people aware what we could do, and thus by default you help more people, right? So marketing in a general sense, I think if we do that, then by default you're going to be, in the right places at the right time, which is what this is all about.
That's, of course, Al, you're going to give us that good solution. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
We do have Lisa, what's her name? That lady that is into marketing and social.
Oh, Patsy.
Patsy. What's her name?
Patsy Linares, maybe?
Patsy.
Is that what you're thinking? I wasn't thinking so much the traditional marketing, but that wouldn't be a bad thing either.
Report.
Yeah. I think the good venues or like you've done before, either FIU or UM or different places where we have access to it. Our facilities are very nice too, or others. That's the time when I think you can invite people. That's the time you want to socialize and have a speaker that's going to talk about something relevant to providing unity and understanding for where we're going.
When we were in Belfast, there was a group that had been invited from Orlando, and they just a group that was put together to talk about violence and a lot of these issues. And they were there as guests of the Carter Center, and so I ended up conversation with the guy. I actually knew his father at Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. Used to be a big minister there, and we ended up talking, having a great conversation. And what I talked to them, they said, we only do our little 3-county area, Central Florida. That's all we want to do. But we love, they're very specific. They've laid out a whole sort of a network of this. Well, we're larger, we're statewide. But I asked them, I said, do y'all come together as an organization? I think they have a big banquet once a year or something like that. I'm not inviting us to do that, but we could. But we might want to do some kind of summit at some point in time. I don't know what your thoughts are for that. I mean, and Florida's a big dadgum state. It's hard to, we can all go to, was it Claudio, you're going to have it at your house? Whose house are we having it? We can have it. So Lorenzo's house in the Keys is what we're going to have it. But, we could have a summit of things like we could invite a lot of people and have a conversation. That's a lot of work to put that together. I'd want it to be successful. But again, first of all, I got to tell you how much I appreciate you guys. And we say that, but we do. And because we've got a really good leadership developing here. And it's across the spectrum. So let's think on those lines of things that maybe we can do in the future. Obviously, all three of us, Lisa and Jennifer and I have been talking about how we can maybe raise some funds. Jennifer, I'm going to let you go and just get some money from the legislature next week. How's that? But we'll come up with something that maybe we can do a collective group. We just don't always have to do it on computer screens.
Yeah, you're going to have to go and get that money because I am in a lobby ban now that I'm a local elected official.
That's
You're on your own, my friend. I will support you. and an education capacity.
So what I hear, we have a lot of ideas, and Terry had brought this up, and to break it down into data sets, like you know, when you go to a thing where you put the sticky notes on in a certain area. This is the area I want to, and with ideas, and then you take that data and go, okay, this is where we want to focus. And I think if we do it that way, the conversation will not only we'll get a holistic conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I think that, I mean, things that are coming up, and this is actually, and I'm glad that we have all of the leads, because the last time the call for like strategic planning and having clear, collateral for folks to hand up came out, I don't know that we had all of our leads present, but I know that we did get offered. I know that we are, what is it, an organizational development partner or assessment partner offered to come down and lead one of these training, like almost like a board or an advisory committee retreat for us. And I think that would also, that would help, because to Al's point, like, we're recruiting people in to do what? To be part of what? Like, what's the elevator pitch? And all of us know the importance of being able to succinctly say what you're doing, and to convey that, and to convey why it's exciting and important that folks join. And honestly, right now, leading up to the midterms elections, like, it's very important, because we, as contentious as civil society can be during non-election periods, it gets people just are not well. It gets much worse during election periods when they're being fed fear. I mean, those of us who pay attention to politics know that, like, you get a 5 to 10 point bump in the polls if you can scare the voters, which has been exercised by a lot of candidates. And so it's like, how do we pull people together now before we get inundated with those, with things that are intentionally pulling us apart?
Yeah, an idea that comes to mind, and Kurt was talking about it earlier. It's people like to magnify the issues and what separates us all within our beliefs, whether it's politically, religiously, or whatever else it is. And I think that one of the things that we spoke about in the private room, Lisa and I, is how do we bottle something that we have, right? So, and going back to your question of get all these people together and do what, right? How do we grow this group? How do we get everybody together? And I think just a thought. I think all of us sitting here now, we stand for something, right? We stand for something, and that something, again, regardless of political parties or political beliefs or religious beliefs and etc., we can all agree on, right? I see a lot of the people online right now, they deal with nonprofits. I also deal with a nonprofit, very heavily involved. It's called Community Smiles. We do dental care for individuals that can afford it.
That's great. Wow.
We do children for free. We do veterans for free. We do homeless for free. And I fight every day to get funding to be able to do more people for free. Because for me, certain individuals, having dental issues, not be able to afford it, that's got to be, I'd probably rather not eat that have that issue, right? So if we could have a list of issues, right, that whether, regardless of the party you're in or who you are or what you are, we can agree upon, right? And then we can tell others, look, this is what we stand for, right? And regardless of who's in power, who's not in power, who's your local, what party is your local government in or whatever, this is what this group stands for. I think it's a breath of fresh air for individuals to want to join something that since the beginning it's shown to be not polarized by one side or the other. And we join each other not to pick a side for the war, but we join the neutral alignment that we all have and we all share. And at the end of the day, I'm a true believer that regardless of your party or religious beliefs, everybody agrees mostly on 80% of everything. We just choose to fight on the 20%. So having said that, I mean, it's just food for thought.
I really appreciate that, Alex, because I think I love that, like, how do we bottle what we have? How do we get other people engaged? I'm going to put in the chat, this is like what we were formed to do back in the day. This is our oldest kind of marching orders. It's Sun 100's mission is to create a rich network of dedicated leaders and community members who want to improve the quality of our democracy by committing to truth in politics, engaging peacefully with our fellow Americans, and supporting our electoral democracy. Like, very broad. That 80% that you talk about, like, it's those things really. And that, the things that fall beyond that aren't a threat to our democratic institutions or our representative republic. But if we can't agree on those things, like, then we're in trouble. And today, I mean, I really do talk to people all the time who their thinking has given way to conspiracy theories about, election on the right and the left, about, like, how I had a neighbor of mine come to me and say that people created a whole additional county in Florida. And I was like, I will check. I have not heard that from reliable sources. Thank you for the information. And it's like this up and coming conspiracy theory on the left. And I thought, oh, this is so problematic. Bridging voices. I like that, Karen. Yeah. And so it is uniting the 80 versus arguing over the 20. Beautiful. That could be our tagline, So I think that this is something, perhaps by next time, why don't we commit to, like, getting what the people have been asking for? Al, you'll be happy, Alex, like, getting something that we can send to people that say, like, here's what we are, here's why you should join, and here's what we're doing.
And here's how you can help.
And here's how you can help.
Hey, I got an idea. Justin, if we were to set up that the thing that we do and we record, we could pick a few folks and have you come on and just let it come from their voice.
Oh my gosh,
What do
I
you think?
love that.
Yeah.
I mean, let it come from their voice. Let it come from your voice. Hey guys, I'm a part of Sunshine 100 because I believe in this, and I want to unite the 80 instead of argue about the 20. That whatever those, and let that voice, and then we can put that on Facebook. We can put that out there on our website. We can send that out if you're comfortable in doing that. Not everybody has to do it, but if you're comfortable in doing it,
yeah. I mean, a lot of the people that are here in the chat today, I mean, you're involved in nonprofit and charitable work. When people come for services and help, you're not asking them those questions. You're just helping, right? When you're in emergency services, when somebody needs your help, your first reaction is to help. It's not to ask them if this is an individual that I want to help because of their beliefs or not. I mean, and this is what we have to bring up first. And unfortunately, the last few years or decades, I don't know how long, but we've been more and more divisive. And I think that's the biggest challenge we have ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. Well, and exactly. And that's really why we were formed, was to bridge those divisions and to make sure that people don't give way to those divisions and that kind of tribal thinking that keeps us separated, keeps us in the problem, keeps us focused on that 20%.
Silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you good if we were to call on you? I know some folks I would call on. Were you good if we were to just take it doesn't have to be a 20-minute diatribe. It's about a 30-second to 45 seconds of why are you doing what you're doing? Why you believe in it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Justin, I just gave you a lot of work. Sorry, brother.
No worries.
Well, and I think that this will also help. Yeah, I think that this is very important for giving folks what the things that they need in order to get more people engaged. So it's definitely worth the effort. I mean, it's definitely worth Justin's effort. Just
Yeah.
joking. I realized. But I mean, and so I think this is wonderful. I think that we really articulated some ways to build out a more dynamic, like what we want the space to feel like and look like when we come back together, and also what we need to bring in even more people. And so for me, I just want to really thank everybody who was on the call today and who contributed to building out a more robust and like idea of what this network could be. And I also want to invite you to our July webinar that's going to be with our supervisors of elections. We're going to have Karen Castor Dental, Alina, I almost said
Garcia.
Garcia. I almost said Gonzalez, and I was like, that is not her last name. Alina Garcia from South Florida, and we'll have Wesley from Marion County. And so we have two newer supervisors of election and a longstanding supervisor of election who can talk about election security and also access to the ballot, things that are from both different directions. And that will be July 16th at 1
Yeah.
p.m.
I think it's the 17th, is it not? Is it
It's
July?
the 16th.
July
Oh, oops.
16th, 1 p.m.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yes.
I'm always wrong. Okay, good.
And so thank you all for joining us today. And look for an email from Kurt, Lisa, myself, or Lorianne to follow up on this conversation about how to get your like kind of ideas for why you decided to join the network into like recorded so that we can then distill it down into who we are, what we're about, and how you can help. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
I
Have a
appreciate
job,
it, guys.
Jennifer.
Have a great
Thank
week.
you all.